It's Nick Petro with your routine Monday morning weekly briefing for Central North Carolina on this 15th of August, 2022. And we've got, first thing I want to jump right into some slides we shared earlier today. Probably when you woke up, you had this in your email if you're on our email list. But that's the slight risk, the level 2 out of 5 severe weather risk. That's basically southwest of Raleigh and south of Raleigh. It includes Raleigh, of course. And then the marginal risk goes all the way up to nearly Henderson and over to east of I-95. So what is slight risk and what does marginal risk mean? Well, basically, marginal means isolated coverage. Slight risk means scattered coverage. You know, the higher you go up that number scale, the greater your risk is for seeing severe weather. Now, the time that we're expecting this severe weather is between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. today. And the hazards include damaging winds. That's the primary threat. But this is an interesting system with low pressure and lots of wind shear and a frontal system and all kinds of boundary and flow in towards that low that could give us a risk for large hail and an isolated tornado. And the other risk, of course, is flash flooding with, any of these downpours that develop over us could be fairly heavy. And obviously when drainage systems and runoff systems get overwhelmed by the heavy precip rates, sometimes that water backs up and results in localized flooding. Where does that normally occur? Well, urban areas, where drainage systems sometimes have a hard time keeping up with the heavy rain. Or poor drainage areas, the typical places that, flood when a heavy thunderstorm downpours over. So again, 2 p.m. to about midnight is when we think the risk for isolated flash flooding will be. And that's displayed here in our excessive rainfall outlook, which has a 4-level scale. This is level 1 out of 4. All right, so what I like to do sometimes is show what's going on currently, and I do that with GR Earth, and here's what we've got. So this is current data here, and what you can see is the low pressure system is basically in here somewhere, and there's a cold front and another boundary kind of in this, oops, I drew that wrong, probably right in here. And there's very, well, I would say cooler and more stable air north of this boundary and more unstable, warmer, more buoyant air, as you can see with this warmer temperatures, south of this line. Well, what happens is because the air flows in a counterclockwise way around low pressure, some of this warmer air will try to sneak northward, and so too will this boundary with time, where, and of course, if the sun breaks out, then of course these 70s and you can see again this difference here. Here's low 80s versus mid 70s. Well, this line here could lift a little bit further northward, but it's typical on these boundaries where we tend to get rotating storms, and rotating storms could give us large hail, damaging winds, and even an isolated tornado. I'm not predicting that's exactly what's going to happen along this line. I'm just saying the ingredients are there for there to be a couple isolated to even scattered severe storms, and an isolated tornado can't be ruled out. So anyway, that's the setup for today's severe weather and why we have that situation ongoing. Now, this basic boundary system over time in the next few days will gradually shift to the south. So that will be good because that might get us into a little bit cooler air mass than what we've been experiencing in the last 30 to 60 days. So we'll definitely look forward to that. All right, so looking at the upcoming weather pattern, there's the boundary in the upper left that I talked about, the low and the fronts. Notice the midweek map shows that boundary to our south, and that southern location of that boundary continues during the late week period. It'll try to kind of either dissipate or maybe drift a little bit north, and then up over the upcoming weekend, we'll get back into a typical late afternoon, widely scattered shower and thunderstorm situation. But until then, Obviously, today's frontal system will give us a chance for showers and thunderstorms. Some storms may be severe, especially south and southwest of Raleigh. Rain chances will go ahead and linger on Tuesday. Not a washout, but particularly earlier in the day into the south of Raleigh. And then because of that boundary shifting to the south, we'll get into a below usual. When I say below usual, like typically in the summertime in August, you think, okay, every day there's going to be a couple, here or there scattered showers and storms. That's what I mean by usual. Well, there'll be less than that usual daily rain chance, at least, as it relates to being August, during the Wednesday through Friday time frame, with the bulk of the rain just to our south. Okay, so that boundary will be to our south. So too will the best chance for showers and storms. But you still can't completely rule it out. So we'll have rain chances in the forecast Wednesday through Friday, but very low rain chances. And then again, back to typical August weather late in the or over the weekend. Now I will point out being north of that boundary most of this week will put us into a more comfortable temperature situation. So let's just get past today, and then things will be a lot better. Okay, here's the rainfall. Today's upper left, tomorrow is upper middle, Wednesday is upper right, Thursday is lower left, and Friday is lower middle. And you can see that really the bulk of this week's rain is going to occur today and more towards later in the week. Okay, today and later in the week. I know there's green painted over us, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I think the key point is that the bulk of the rain with the middle of the week time frame is mainly to our south. You see how the heaviest swath of rain is to our south here on Wednesday and Thursday. So there's always a little bit of northward nudge to that just in case, but the bulk of the rain during the midweek period should be to our south, and then Friday it tries to lift back north. When you add it all up over the next 5 days, and this is a 5-day accumulation, look at these heavier amounts along and south of Raleigh that are getting above 2.5 inches. Look, there's those reds, 2.5, 3, maybe up to 4 inches of rain. So some hopefully this will put an even greater dent into whatever lingering abnormally dry conditions there are. But this could be some some decent rains. All right. So getting past this slide, here is our excessive rainfall outlook. Again, today's the day with the isolated flash flooding possible. Today's the day with scattered severe storms possible. Nothing else for the rest of the week. Turning our attention to the tropics, there's a little, less than, I think it was 20% chance. It was very low, just this little disturbance or little seedling, if you will, here out in the north of the islands there and east of the Bahamas. Again, that's not anticipated to be an issue for us. I will point out that that blue line represents today where we're at on this chart. Again, here's the seasonal norms for activity, and you can see we're in the midst of the period where climatologically speaking, basically here's the peak of the hurricane season, right? And we're kind of getting into the peak, but it's still not particularly. It's not particularly busy right now, even though the season normally is ramping up now. Suffice it to say, the peak, if you will, the top of the peak, how about that? The top of the peak is still, a few weeks away. So don't let your guard down is the point. Just because it's, a little bit less than, a little quiet right now, definitely don't let your guard down. We still have a long way to go with this hurricane season. All right, what else? We've got the looking further ahead, the look ahead to next week, and you can see our rain chances still are running above normal, so that'll be interesting. And I think that's probably, we pretty much covered it at this point. Again, we've got this frontal system to deal with that's going to give us these showers and storms today and tonight and early tomorrow, rain lingering early tomorrow, not a washout. And then we get into lesser coverage than normal for this time in August, Wednesday through Friday in terms of rainfall coverage. And then we get back into the usual coverage, if you will, for the weekend. All in all, we're going to see comfortable temperatures for this week. Look at those readings down there, highs in the 70s tomorrow, and then low 80s Thursday and Friday. That'll be nice. In terms of hazards and impacts, again, there's a slight level 2 risk, if you will, level 2 out of 5 for severe storms this afternoon into the early evening, mainly between 2 and 10 p.m. Strongest storms will be capable of damaging winds and large hail. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. And then again, watch out for that flash flooding that could be possible, mainly in urban and or poor drainage areas. Remind folks in your sphere of influence to never drive through areas where water covers the roadway. That's the best way to stay safe in situations like this. And remember, always take all warnings seriously, including severe thunderstorm warnings. You know, obviously you want to get inside and away from windows whenever we issue severe thunderstorm warnings. Okay, that's the safety advice. With that, I will wrap up today's weather briefing for Central North Carolina on this 15th of August, 2022.